Tonight we're going to make drop buttermilk biscuits and bacon sausage gravy. I am cheating a little bit. I'm using the already pre-mixed baking mix, but I'm also using, to make my buttermilk, I'm adding powdered buttermilk to milk. You can add milk or water. You pour it in, and to get the acidity that you wish, you can add 2 tablespoons of lemon juice or vinegar. Let this set. Once it starts, stir good. You don't want to mix this till it's completely incorporated in each other. Once it's done, and you've got it completely mixed up, and yes, I know this might take a little bit, but I wanted you to see how this all is going to end up being taken care of. You can make it ahead of time and set it to the side. Normal buttermilk has acidity in it, which the powder does not. And using milk and vinegar will give you the buttermilk that you wish, but there's still some minerals and other things that's not incorporated into it. And if all need be, you can always go by hand or use a mixer or a jar to mix this. Doesn't have to be thoroughly mixed, just in as best you can. This is a little bit of a long process, but it does make your biscuits worthwhile if you don't use buttermilk. And like us, we don't drink it, so it's not in the house often. And I use a powdered buttermilk, and you can use that according to the directions. But you can add water or milk. I prefer the milk to give it more of a cream flavor to it. And get all the big major lumps out if you can. And if you're desperate, you can always go with a blender or chopper. But being southern, I guess I'm a little wanting to take it slow. But this will do. A few lumps is not going to hurt it. We'll change out later. As you can see, it's starting to thicken up, which is what you're looking for. Some people put powdered milk, powdered buttermilk, they put heavy cream, they put regular store-bought buttermilk. However, when you use the powdered buttermilk, you're not going to get the same properties as you do with the liquid form. A lot of that's taken out. As you can see, there's still some lumps in there. Won't hurt it. And make a little bit of a well. And you pour it in. Pour it in all at once. Well, it's gonna not be overly taken, but it helps it from just going over the top. But unlike others, you can use, biscuits, that homemade biscuits, they use butter, Crisco, lard. The Jiffy Mix already has milk in it, actually, but it also has all the ingredients, the baking powder, all the leavening you need, salt, so forth. And if you need to and you don't feel it's good enough, you can always add a little bit more. of the baking mix to it if you want it thicker. If you're doing rolled biscuits, you're going to want this a lot thicker than what it is. You're dumping it out and putting in biscuit in it like you would normal biscuits. You just kind of drop them in. If you want, what I do is I'll put it in, not too overly close together, and yes, I use my finger, but my hands are clean. And this is my house, my rules. If we have company, I don't use my fingers. Or at least they don't know I use my fingers. What you're wanting to do is make your batch as such, and then go back and feed the difference as you go, because they will expand. Now I put a little bit, as you had seen earlier, into the pan of some of the baking mix. That was something my grandfather taught me a long time ago, and I still do that. And it helps them from sticking. If you don't want to use that, you can use any type of baking spray or cooking spray, oil, lard, whatever you wish to use. Now these will grow and they will be quite big, which is what, if you're going to have biscuits and gravy, that's the best way to go. And I am not a wasteful person, so I try to get all I can out of it and spread it around to make them all pretty much the same. But I believe that's about all I'm going to get out of this bunch. Now this recipe that I used normally calls for 2 cups of baking mix. Mine, however, is doubled because 5 or 6 biscuits just isn't going to be enough with most country eaters. The oven is set at 450. You go in for 15 minutes. If you're doing the rolled biscuits, and 10 to 12 for drop. Take a look at them at 10 minutes. Drop biscuits in a pan. Some people use 350, some people use 400. Most biscuits are averaged between 400 and 450. I've heard tale of some doing 500, but to me that's a little scary and too quick. Now we're going to let those sit there a minute so they're a little cooler to handle, and then we're going to pop them out so they don't get condensation underneath. And actually you can pretty much dump them out in a pan, but we're going to take them apart. And now I'm going to shut the oven off. Don't need any more. And we will be starting on frying up the bacon. Okay, we've already went ahead and did the bacon. The biscuits are put over here in my little bun warmer. And the bacon is going to be crumbled. And once the sausage is done, I did not drain the grease out. I don't. I use an average of about, if you're using full strips, it should be about 5 to 6 strips of bacon. Because most sausage of late has been kind of lean. But we cook it until it's brown, lightly brown, and cook thoroughly. Once that's done and you've broken it up really well, then you take that out as well. You leave the grease in, and add the flour. You'll be adding about probably a quarter to a half a cup of flour, depending on your grease measurements. You're trying to calculate the two totals. Make sure that they are equal. You can see it's still a little bit raw. I run it between a medium-high to about a medium heat. Started a little higher than medium to get it started and work its way down. And I keep just trying to break it up as best I can. Most biscuits and gravy are all made everybody has different recipes, and most people make them according to how their mama made them or whoever made them. But it's always good to tweak and add your own flair to it. Some people add sage. Some people add poultry seasoning. That's your crumble. Put it over on top. And yes, I do crumble my bacon. I'm just putting this on top right now. I'm letting all the grease drain off, and once we get back to the bacon, I'll be crumbling it. But for now, it sets to the side. Temperatures drop down a bit. Just until I get my hands on the flour. And it's about a half a cup. What you're doing now is just basically making a roux, depending on how much. Yeah, but if it's a bit dry, you can add a little bit more grease or butter. Some people even use oil. Grab a little butter. Says that to add a bit of a richness to it as well. You can add more or less as you go. As I said, sometimes people add shortening. Some people add just a reserve of bacon grease. But you can add a quarter to a half a cup of the flour, depending on how much you have. If you add a little butter to it, it'll add a little bit more creaminess to the gravy. But we are not, we're country eating. We don't worry too much all the time about diets and so forth, but you want to add your milk slow, little bit at a time. This is about 4 cups. It'll start to thicken as it goes. And the sheet's starting to go. Do keep in mind when you do salt the biscuits or the gravy that it will have extra salt in the bacon and the sausage, so you might want to taste as you go or adjust accordingly. We're going to go ahead and let me finish getting the rest of the milk in. Battery's short on the phone we're using, so we'll get it all together and we'll come back. Because if it sticks, it'll scorch. There's Lowry's seasoned salt and Lowry's seasoned pepper. You can use the spices of your choice. We like garlic. You can add however much you wish. Again, like I said, do keep in mind the bacon and the sausage both contain salt, so if you are on a low salt diet, you might want to cut it out or just do it according to taste. I also add black pepper. We do like quite a bit in it. poultry seasoning. If you have sage, you can put that in. That'll help also bring the sage out in your sausage into the gravy more. Do keep in mind that as the gravy starts to cool, whatever your thickness is that you like when it first starts, when it cools, it's going to change. It's going to get thicker. So if you do decide to have any leftovers, then you can add them add a little bit of milk when you go to reheat. Or you can thin it down if you prefer. You want just a small pinch of salt. If that's what you might add, but like I said, it's always to taste. Now this is our first video, and there are things that I might have missed. There are things I shouldn't have said. There are some things that I might not have done, or things I could do better. Don't be foul with your comments, but all are appreciated. Get a spoon. Now we're going to put the sausage back in. Oop, I'm trying to throw it on the counter while I'm at it. Whatever's drained off the sausage and the bacon goes right back into the pot. This I do by hand, and sometimes I throw large pieces in there. And yes, I use my fingers. As I said, my house, my rules. But you break it up, cut it up, however you wish to do it. You can even do it beforehand. I didn't think about it at the time, so I'm doing it now. Hey, I'm old and I can goober. But yes, you can put the bacon in. And since Mikey's holding the camera, or one of them, he can't help. You do stir it occasionally. If you find a large piece you want, break it down. Get your hands out of my sausage. He believes in taking liberties and tasting as he goes. I do apologize. I have a bad hand, so sometimes things take me a little bit longer to do. Hopefully we'll have that corrected in other videos where I've already got things a little bit more prepared. But this is one of our first, and we're still new at it. Also, a good rule to keep going at is, as often as you can, try to clean as you go. Doesn't always happen. I'm still training Mikey. He doesn't do that. But we will tell you as we go a little bit more about us as we go on. The rest of the sausage gets put in the pan, or in some cases even accidentally thrown on the floor. We do have dogs. They'll handle it. Now you just stir it in. As you see, it's starting to thicken up really well. Now you can add more flour. You cannot add more flour in this case if it's too thin. Some people buy or purchase a product called Wondra, which has worked, and it will help thicken. But you can also do just a slurry with a little cornstarch if you don't need to thicken it up too much. It will help. Let's say about, I haven't done this in a while, but about I'll try it. About a teaspoon. Let's see if I can still do this. I used to could do it, but I don't know if I still can. No, I'm a little off. By a lot. My hands, I guess, are getting old. But this is actually to taste. You can add half a teaspoon to a teaspoon if you like it a little stronger. I eyeball it. If I want more in there, I'll put more in there. If I want less, I put less. Now, I do have another ingredient that I have added on occasion. And that's just a little, it's a scant, which is about 1/5 of a teaspoon. So you just want to add just a couple of little drops in there. That's it. And do it to taste. Taste as you go. It's like with anything. See, I know if you're my age, you would have known, but the old commercial, Mikey will eat anything? Yeah, he will. So even if I'm not happy with it, he'll still eat it. So I'm good to go.
Thanks.
But it's good. It's thick. Might just set it down just a little tad. I use whole milk. Some people use cream, half and half. But the secret is it's what you can do. I mean, if you can afford, you like half and half, you keep it in the house all day, go for it. If you have heavy cream, whatever. But there are people out there that can't afford that and may have to use something like powdered milk, which I've used in this. And see, that's about it. Now, we get two spoons. One for me and one for the mister.
You can use the same one.
Tell me what you think, boss.
That's good.
Let it simmer a bit. But you can tweak the recipe. I mean, you can add more garlic powder. And you can add more poultry seasoning if that's what you like. Seasoned salt, seasoned pepper. And you can even add a little bit more black pepper to it. I really don't recommend adding any more salt than what you have for tasting there. Just do keep in mind, biscuits actually have salt in them. Bacon has salt in them. And so does sausage. Also, keep in mind that sometimes everything you eat has salt in it. So just keep that in mind. Whatever you put in there is garlic salt that's got salt in it. So he's going to stop this for a bit, and we're going to get it together and try to plate up. You want more?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought so.
One more. I thought you was going to break them up. But...
No, I break it up for me. You don't like it broke up.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
ahead and put some gravy on it.
Okay, boss, there's yours.
Put it down to yours. Yeah, you get the little plate.
Of course. I'm only doing one. And I like mine broken up.
Me too.
Well, not always. You've cut yours. So you got cut and I got...
Yeah.
Basically, the biscuits are, as you see over there. And the gravy's thick and, well, it's just perfect. Some like it a little thinner. If you do, just add more milk.
No, I like my gravy thick.
I know. And now, we're gonna eat.
All right. Y'all, that's breakfast.
Don't forget
6
to like,
o'clock in the
subscribe.
morning.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. And please share.
Later.